So you didn't know?
Okay. Woo. There we go. All right. Graphing exponential functions using a table of values. Okay.
I got a hangnail.
So,
On my middle finger. Nail where?
what? Nobody cares.
She doesn't even have a nail.
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh my god. That just hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry. You're not funny. Stop trying to smoke your pen like a cigarette.
Go ahead, crackhead.
Huh? Crackhead.
Okay, enough. Okay, so we are going to graph exponential functions using a table of values. I'm going to show you how to plug in your equation, get your table of values. That way you're not sitting here and trying to do it mathematically constantly. Okay, so they suggest when you come up with the table of values that you get 4 values. 1 when x is -1, 1 when x is 0, 1 when x is 1, and 1 when x is 2. Okay, that's usually your safe bet. To tell the calculator is something that is an exponent, we press the caret key. Okay, for those of you that don't know where that's at, that is right here on your calculator above the division sign. Yes, for now. Okay. Use parentheses around negative numbers. And when you see it in the equations, don't leave it off. It's important. Keep in mind the shape that your graph should make. So it should start leveled off and shoot up in the air, or it should come down and start to level off. We either have growth or we have decay. So if you graph something and it looks like a straight line, you did something wrong. You know what these equations should look like. Check with the graphing calculator by pressing y equals, type in the equation, and graph it to see if your graph looks like the one that you drew. Okay. So let's make up an exponential equation. Keep your numbers small, please. So what initial value do we want?
2.
I heard 1 and 2.
12.
2. 1.
5.
2.
87.
2. All right. So let's do 2. What do we want to multiply by?
4.
Okay. Raised to the x. So in your calculator, I want you to go to y equals. Oh, I need to clear mine out.
Y equals.
Second plus 712.
No. You said y equals?
Yes. Go to y equals. There we go. Okay. Go to y equals, and you're going to type this in exactly how you see it. 2, open parenthesis, 4, close parenthesis, and to get that exponent, I hit my caret key and type in x. Mine's going to look a little bit different because I have a TI-84. You have a TI-83.
So to get the x, do I press
The arrow
I
going
press
up?
alpha for the x?
No, you press. You press.
Your X button is this one
X
right here. The XT.
X time?
The one that says link above.
That's X time.
No, it's not.
That's
It's X and T and theta and N.
X time.
Y'all can say that. I can say X time.
But that's not what it is. So you would be incorrect.
On here, the X is right beside the 4 instead.
Yeah, because you have the caret key. Mine puts it up as an exponent when I hit the caret key.
Must be nice.
Okay. So let me see this.
I use $10.
So, oh, you're missing your caret key, sweetheart. Caret key X. So yours should look.
Mine ain't working, bro.
Yours should look like this.
Yes.
Okay. Yours should look like this. Okay, to get table of values. Okay, they want us to find when x is -1, 0, +1, and 2. So right now from your table, you should see when x is 0, y is 2.
How do I get there again?
Second graph. When x is 1, y is 8. When x is 2, y is 32. How do I get when x is -1?
Go up.
Scroll up.
Scroll up. So use your little arrow key and go up. So when x is -1, my y is 0.5. Okay?
Just keep going all the way down forever.
Yes. This will go down forever and ever and ever and ever.
What does E stand for?
Yeah.
Okay? So E stands for your number's way too big and they can't fit it in there, so that's scientific notation.
Oh, so you just put.
So like when you had in science class, when you did something like
It's X.
Oh yeah, I'm at 47.
So,
4828.
3.36 e to the 7th. 3.36 e to the 7th. This is the same thing as 3.36 times 10 to the 7th that you should have learned in science class. Which tells you that you take your decimal point and you move it 7 spaces in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fill it in with zeros.
What is that?
So this is the number that should be in that spot, but it's too big for them to put it there.
We're doing that.
I'm at 18
Might have it.
Okay. So when it gets too big, your calculator will go into scientific notation because it won't give you an answer. It's too big to fit into that spot. Okay. So let's graph this. When we're at -1, we're at 1/2. When we're at 0, let me blow up the graph here. Okay. When we're at 0, we should be at 2. When we're at 1, we should be at 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And obviously, we're not going to be able to graph 32. So my graph should look something like this.
This is all right.
It's infinity.
And when you actually graph it on your calculator, it looks like that.
How do you graph it?
Hit graph.
Kind of
Oh,
awful.
it does.
It's not real long. See?
Right.
No, it's not long. It's not long.
What do you mean?
Like our lawn doesn't go that far out there.
Yes, it does. It's so close to that X
So,
axis that you can't see it.
I'm-
The only reason you can see it on mine, if you noticed, I bought a color edition.
Yeah.
So you can see the blue over the black. You can't see it on yours because it's black and black. These calculators are $130 some. Yes. I saved up for this baby. It also went on sale, so I technically got it for $89.99. It was on sale. Okay. Did we really do the one that's on the inside?
No.
Yes, we did. Look at that.
What's calculate? What's calculator?
Yes.
What they gotta call me?
Yay. That's great.
Calculator.
That's crazy.
We seriously came up with the one that's on the inside.
We smart.
Dang. All right. So we know -1 and 0.5. We know 0 and 2. We know 1 and 8 and 2 and 32. Well, that was cheap.
It's a $5 foot long.
$5 foot long. Let me get one of your calculators so it looks identical to what you're looking at.
And you just drew the numbers and you already got to be calculated. What?
All right.
Black to me.
Oh, God.
So this one, let me flip it this way. Let me turn it this way. Look, this one's a little bit different. Okay, so when you go to your y equals for this one, y equals 2 raised to the x plus 3. So your equation should look like this.
Second plus someone two.
So now when your calculator does this, it's going to do 2 raised to your exponent, get an answer, and then add 3 to that.
What?
Okay. Remember, order of operations says exponent happens first. So they'll take 2 and raise it to the exponent, and then they'll add 3. So when I go to my table this time, second graph, -1 and 3.5. Yes. If you hit just graph, it will show you the graph. Second graph will show you the table. So you should have a point at -1, 3.5. You should have a graph at 0.
You don't have no graph.
I'm sorry, a point. 0, 4, 1, 5, and 2, 7.
Do we start it on at negative
Oh, you always say one. I say two. I mean negative.
Oh, it's still more. It's still more.
Okay, so look at what happens when I graph this one. Whoa. Normally my graph is kind of right along that x-axis. What happened? It's curved, but it's not laying across my x-axis anymore. Where's it laying across? It's above. It's moved up. Guess what? It moved up by 3.
I told you.
That's what that did to your graph.
Oh yeah, because I see it.
It shifted it up, and my asymptote is now at 3 instead of at 0. Okay. So it transformed your graph by shifting it up. Okay. All right. Let's look at this next one. What's this graph going to look like?
And now
It's gonna be horizontal. Wait, no.
or is it just
See if you can guess what this graph's going to look like before we graph it.
It's not horizontal.
Here.
What kind of graph should this be? Why is this linear?
It's vertical because there's more.
There's no exponent in this one. This is actually a linear graph.
Because it's straight.
Okay? So when I go to my table, my y values had better be going up by the same number, by adding the same number. What is that number? 9. Okay, so my table for this one should be -1, -9, 0, 0, 1, 9, and 2, 18. And this is linear.
Oh, yeah, this is linear there.
I think there's something wrong. It's not talking right up on my cat. It's crazy how much. Oh, okay. I put it through 9.
Yeah, there is no carrot key. That's not an exponent. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's put in this last one.
Wait a minute.
How do you get it to the?
I did it on
oh
How do you get into the what?
How do you get it to the?
The table?
No, I know how to get it.
So I'm not quite sure what you're asking, Gustav. Say it again.
Oh, that's a negative.
Just say it.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. Be careful with this one. It is a -2. You cannot put -2.
That's what
You have to use the negative button, which is down at the bottom beside enter. So -2, parentheses, 3, close it, raised to the x. Second graph.
I can't put.
Just do 0.67. So -1 and 0.67, 0, -2, 1, -6, and 2, -18. Okay.
What is he calculating for?
Right, what's in the middle? It says.
So yeah, they want you to. So you're not gonna have to do these ones by hand, but what they want here is like 2 times 3 raised to the 0. They want 2 times 3 raised to the 1.
Oh,
2 times 3 raised to the 2.
we don't have to do it, right?
While I'm passing out these last papers,
How fast about?
okay, I need you to glue that into your notebook. What page are we on? Where is page missed out? That could be signs of that.
Literally, I will lay down, I will go back to lay down. 10 minutes later, I am
I love it. We're not gonna do these ones. We're gonna do this. I'm sorry, my printer ran out of blue paper, so some of you are getting white. Fight over them. Okay, so I want you to practice putting these in the calculator, getting yourself a table of values, graphing your table of values, and also on here it says, give me your y-intercept and tell me what your domain and range is. Okay, listen, I also want you to add on,
No,
yes,
that's too much. You
that,
gotta, you gotta take
Is
it
this
out.
one for you?
Evan worksheet before you get in trouble, girl.
Asymptote.
No, bro.
Oh, that's easy.
I want you to add on your asymptote.
I think that's what
Huh? That's fine. Remember, you need your asymptote to be able to do your range. So you're technically finding it anyway.
How do I,
Because your range is always y is greater than your asymptote or y is less than your asymptote, depending on whether your graph is above it or below it. Okay.
how do I do a fraction?
The division sign?
Oh, okay. So
Do they not let you use calculators?
No,
ever.
we got the calculators out. We got the big calculators. We got money down there. I'll tell you about it.
In some other calculators, there's one way to put numerator and denominator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.